Moya Mega Pano, Capital 100.4 FM, and it's a good choice that you made. On a Monday, we do what we call Hustle Hard with Mr. George. Before we get into what we are talking about today, let me give you a little bit of what happened over the weekend. I got people asking me, when I busy, voice how far? Guys, the way I like money. I will do the jobs. I will do the jobs and I will dance and, do all sorts. And, just make sure that people are having a good time. And next was out Monday, and then I try to gargle this and drink that, but hey, I'm still yet to master it. So on Friday evening, I attended the EU Day at the European Embassy's ambassador's residence. Beautiful, beautiful event. And it was just nice to be around, that type of a crowd. When I say that type of a crowd, I'm sure you will understand. When I say that type of a crowd, the talk is different. The ambience is different. Oh, there were food stalls, all right? So each European country was represented there, and everybody was at the German stand because there was meat and beer. You know how they call people German tankers and everything. So everybody was there at the German food stall. So they were like showcasing the different types of foods that they have in the European countries. I was just by the Belgium stand, and I'm sure you understand why. I'm a lady, and Belgium chocolate is just the one. It just does the things. So as I was there, interacting and networking with people, I put a little bit of the things that we talk about here on Hustle Hard into practice. And believe it or not, guys, I got myself really cool deals. I got myself out there. I had my card ready, and I got a really smart card that you scan. And I wasn't handing out cards. So everyone was like, it's your girl. It's your girl. She's hustling and she's doing it great. So I just want to say a big thank you to George. Every time when he comes through on a Monday, George. And then we now just wait for opportunities to exercise the things that he teaches us. So today, George is in the building. What did you do, George?
What it is, Capi Talk Family, 100.4 FM, the place to be every single Monday. With Becky K, Hustle Hard. And, if you ain't hustling, you ain't living.
That's it. If you ain't hustling.
Wherever you're at, in your office, at home, you got to have some form of hustle that, enables you to ultimately become what you want to be. Without hustling, and people say hustle is a gangster, but hustler kushanda, nesimba.
Oh yeah.
It's just, a word that we use. So it's important, everybody locked in, we're always here to impact some knowledge, some wisdom, so that we can become great.
That's absolutely true. And like I said, thank you so much for the wisdom that you come through and impacting our lives.
See it.
It's doing the things. 9565, I see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. 8960, Tatenda Marimbe, how are you? Tavengwa Chitanga, how you doing? The Happy Mother's Day. You're the only one. Nobody wished me Happy Mother's Day in the office today, but I'm sure it's like it was on Sunday. Becky, what you want us to do? My message was a beautiful message. But no, Dr. Gold's go. Happy Mother's Day. So thank you so much, Oliver, for wishing me a Happy Mother's Day. Mama Madison Jr., good morning to you, or is it good afternoon? Good day. 5816, thank you for tuning in. It's time for Hustle Hard. Keep it locked on Capital Talk 100.4 FM. When we come back, we do the things.
George Billionaire, and you're listening to Capi Talk 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat. With yours truly, Becky K.
So we got Mr. George Billionaire in the building, coming through with a Hustle Hard every Monday from 20 minutes past 12 o'clock until the top of the hour. He will be in studio and letting us know what it is that we need to be doing, what we need to be incorporating in our hustles, in our businesses. And for some, the hustle that we are doing, that is it. That is the livelihood. And if you are not hustling and giving it your best, you got only you to blame. With all the information that we're getting here all you need to do is get up and do something. So, George, how was the weekend?
Weekend was great.
What did
Big
you get
shout
up
out
to?
to all the mothers. Happy Mother's Day.
Each y'all.
And our moms.
Uh-huh.
If it wasn't for our moms, we wouldn't be the people that we are. So special shout out to all the mothers. Special shout out to my wife, Lisa, the mother of the amazing Jays. Big shout out to you. Love you lots. The family wouldn't be a family and a household without you. So big shout out to Lisa. Monengwa, love you lots. Happy Mother's Day to all Anna moms all over the world listening out loud. We appreciate you. If nobody said Happy Mother's Day, Happy Mother's Day to Anna moms.
Oh, thank you so much. Musadonedza mafoni mutauno, pane varidonedza mafoni mutauno kuseka. Let's keep it 100 right here on Cappy Talk. So George, in business, I know you've had a lot of fun times, a lot of interesting times, but there's also some embarrassing moments that you've gone through as a hustler, as a businessman, as an entrepreneur. What's the one incident that stands out that when you think about it, you're like, but guys, that's Dre.
Yeah, so, I think for me, the most embarrassing, it's not in business as such.
Oh, all right.
But I remember Dad attended a youth camp church. And I had this one pair of shoes which I used for all sports. Sarabutsu was, a nice Nike shoe. And very nice shoe, but yanga famba. So it was, rainy season and wakafamba pane mvura yaipinda mukati. So I remember I went to a church conference and, youth church conference, and the pastor, touched me and he said, you know what, those who want to give their lives to the Lord, please umbere. And I remember what I had done to Glenora, right opposite my house, there was a pane mudara aigadzira boots, and underneath my shoe yanga yakasonerwa tire kuti yanga yakupinda mvura
as the sole of the shoe.
So pasi pambaboka underneath.
All right.
And, yanga yasonerwa this rubber underneath. So I knew what my shoe was like underneath. Pano pavaindona ndichifamba, people didn't know what underneath was like. And taenda ku church camp, ndaenda kumberi. Usually people end up church on a Sunday. Those who want to give their lives to the Lord, come to the front, raise your hands. But this particular pastor was a guest pastor. He asked us to kneel down.
Oh, normally you wouldn't be kneeling.
We wouldn't kneel down. So,
okay.
And then, the youth pastor came and said, George, he said, kneel down. Then when I knelt down, everybody, so imagine the whole youth saw what was underneath my shoe. And I remember I was mocked, I was laughed at, I was, boots yako Nike Dunlop chico, boots yako ine matreds pasi, I was so laughed at so much that
oh my gosh.
Trust you me, it's nakabatikana. But I can tell you that ever since that particular event, it made me become very shungufu in life. To say, you know what? I have to be able to do the most to be able to get a certain standard of life.
Yeah.
And you do not understand the experience that somebody went through, even the hard work ethic that somebody goes through. So there's some things in life that people will laugh at you about, but we need to use those things as motivation and encouragement, so that we can become better versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
So for me, that was an embarrassing moment, but looking back, that was one thing that really, people mocked, laughed at me, this, that, and the other. But trust you me, I used that, that mocking, and ever since, whenever I want to do something and people laugh at me, it actually gives me fuel to prove them wrong. So if people say certain things to you, it won't work out, what? Make sure you do something to prove all those people who said the most about you, laughed at you, ridiculed you, told you won't make it, you are too young, you are not educated enough, too many people are doing it, etc. Make sure you don't listen to the naysayers, the people who are just there to blow out that candle that is alive. So for me, that was the most embarrassing moment I had. But I can guarantee you that that was an event which motivated me to say, you know what, I don't ever want to be seen in such a situation again. And ultimately, it's led us to where we are today.
That was a serious push factor.
Mm.
That was a really strong push factor. A lot of push factors have pushed people into hustling, and I think the ones that hit really hard on people are the ones that then just propel you to do even bigger and greater, because you don't want to go back to that place where you were. And then there are some where you're just like, it's okay, Mandiseka. And then you could have just said, oh, that's the end of me.
True.
That's the end of me. I'm never going to be anybody. I'm never going to amount to anything. Why am I even trying? Why am I bothering? Let me just leave it alone. But you said, I don't ever want this to happen again.
Yeah.
So let's do something.
And there's something about in life, I don't know what it is, but you find the most successful people come from the high density suburbs. They come from Umosha, Wakafudza Mombe. They've got an amazing story to tell about, where they came from. And it's just about the experiences they had, like you're saying. People don't want to go back to poverty. People don't want to go back to, staying in a very, uncomfortable place, eating, walking 10 kilometers to school, this, that, and the other, going through so much hardships. And those people tend to make it in life because they know what poverty is like. But when you look at the other side of town, and I grew up with a lot of people who stayed in the uptown suburbs, where their parents were the ones who experienced poverty, but they never did.
They never did.
So you'll find those people have a hunger. They don't have that experience of not having. So they think life is always going to be like that. But the amazing, shocking thing, after school, I used to be ridiculed and laughed at, being mocked and all this. And those guys were dropped off in the latest, this, that, and the other. They'll drive, at a very early stage. They'll go on holidays. But, that upbringing that they had didn't prepare them for after school, which is where the real life comes in. They are used to receiving from their parents. So hustling for them doesn't make sense. Starting from the bottom doesn't make sense. They want to get rich quick. If you ask your dad for something,
then it's there.
Moms because that's that. But that's been the greatest challenge with our generation, because they want microwave solutions to success. But then success is, you have to go up the ladder step by step.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. If you look at, Nigel Chanakira, he's from Highfields. Philip Chianga, he's from Chebutu. Sodwa Mkandla, she's from Bulawayo, Ghetto. Rebecca Kisamba. The list can go on. All these people came from poverty. They didn't have. But there's something about the hunger and the zeal that made them say, listen, now they're uptown. I don't want to go back where I came from.
Yeah.
I have to make it work. And those people who are hungrier than everybody else, they're the ones who then make it. And this is a question to everybody out there. How hungry are you to become great? How hungry are you to be the first in your generation? Some of us, we grew up with, Mabongo and Baskoro, and that was the highest achievement. But, we have to become, that generation that breaks that.
Yeah.
Because of how hungry we are, The Word of God says we need to leave an inheritance for our children's children. That's true.
Dude.
But, with most of us, what are you going to leave? Just your one or two children if you are to go. So it just depends how hungry we are. We shouldn't just be out there making money for our immediate stomachs and family.
Yeah.
You need to be able to do something that lives beyond you and, is passed on to the next generation. So, that's just something for us to think about. How hungry are you to be able to achieve more than what's ever been achieved in your family? And when you have that hunger,
True.
what are you doing to, my dad, I can't be the person who is still staying in my parents' house. I gotta move out of there. And
I see pressure.
It is right pressure. Those are hustle hard. We say it as it is. It's important that we do things,
Right.
It's very difficult, truly speaking, for somebody to be blessed whilst you are still staying in your parents' house. Truly speaking. And I know that can provoke and poke many people.
A lot.
Yeah,
A lot.
but you know, it's important. Move out and no track one room. Start that hustle small. Trust you me, you'll begin to see some things happening. So that's just, you know, something for somebody out there who needed to hear that. It's true fact. Let's be hungrier than we are. Let's not, this comfort zone, greatest enemy of progress. To be comfortable, to be okay. To blame chase besides ourselves. And this is why we will not ever become what God purposed us to do, because our excusetices is
getting the best of us.
Is greater than, you know, what we are supposed to be achieving. Saka, yeah.
Tungotangira patiri pa
Mashoko
makuku. Manyazo aiwa. You mentioned something that is leading to what we are talking about today, about how parents will then want their children to live a certain life that they did not live. So you struggled, you don't want your kids to struggle, so you tend to cushion them a little bit, and they don't understand, or they never experience certain difficulties that you experienced when you were their age. But that's not the way to carry on fully. You have to teach them somewhat things that have to do with how life can be hard. How best can parents do that based on your experience?
So I think, you know, one of the greatest challenges our generation has, because we think spoiling our kids is the best. But that's actually setting our kids up for doom and failure. Because vana vakajaidzwa, vakapiwa everything they need. Trust you me, it's the word of God says, train up a child in the way they should go. And they will not depart from it. Saka, imagine, like I was saying earlier, when I grew up with a lot of guys whose parents were well off, CEOs of this, that, they had everything. But they were not trained by their parents. They only received. So when you receive, it will be very difficult for you to pure fish and also cook. You need to learn how to fish. And I remember growing up with my dad. He didn't know he was doing it. You'd see him negotiating. $10 as well as 7, 8. It's what you do as a parent in front of your kids. You know, there's a quote that says, "Don't tell your kids, show them." It's very difficult to tell your kids, but they never see you as a parent reading. Monkey see,
monkey do.
Monkey do. So, you know, in a household where there are parents, you find Vanawanda at their schools, they are acting exactly like what they see at home. So they talk, you know, kids, you can tell so because
of what they're doing, and how they're behaving. Yeah.
So it's more about showing the kids what you want them to be ultimately, you know. And I think, like for me, the amazing is I go with them to sports that I play. So it's very difficult to say, you need to come number one in whatever you do. You need to give 100%.
Yeah.
They go and see me play soccer. They see me scoring. They see how passionate I am about things, and that then rubs off to children. So when you are a parent who is not there for your kids, they are getting information from somewhere else.
Yes.
And then when the time comes for them to do whatever they want to do in life, it's not your DNA speaking. Therefore, they'll be swayed left or right because of the information they're getting. So it's important as parents, let's be there. Let's support our kids. Let's encourage them. Let's equip them. You know, I do what's called school and diaries every day. Ever since they were in grade 1, we have a word every single day.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can't leave your kids' wealth alone, because there are people who have a lot of money. But trust you me, if the father or mother disappears, they will liquidate everything because they do not understand how to maintain and grow wealth. So children need to be equipped mentally. You know, you don't give kids wealth and think, you know, they'll sustain it. You have to teach them how it is. If you get this, you need to. I encourage my kids. They actually sell a couple of things, you know, and it's encouraging them to start small. I told them I started selling freezes, and you know, you retain the profit. Then there's one you can eat a little, don't eat all of it. But majority of kids, because they're just used to receiving, I don't want to marry a say, they
Gone.
spend it and that's gone.
Yeah.
So I encourage parents to train up their children young.
Mm-hmm.
It would be very difficult to train an old dog, once it is 18, 19, and start telling them how to run certain things because they've already been programmed.
Yeah.
So, train up a kid whilst they're young. And don't just be a giver of things to spoil your kids because you didn't have. Train them up in the way that if you disappear today, they will still be able to do what it is that they're supposed to do to survive when you're not there.
Nice one. It's Capi Talk 100.4 FM. We've got George Billionaire in the building as we do what we call Hustle Hard every Monday from 12 until 1 o'clock. We just got a little bit of a lesson there from George on push factors that make people hustlers. And, we just derailed him a little bit and had him to talk about how we as parents want to fill in a gap, but we're doing it all wrong and we end up spoiling our kids and they do not know how to fend for themselves in this big, bad world. Now, George, I met someone whom you assisted with something, and this got me thinking, like, it's important. The people that we know as hustlers, you talk about it all the time, like surround yourself, surround yourself. But then you surrounded yourself with professionals in different fields. And I'm talking all fields. I've seen George with bankers. I've seen you with lawyers. I've even seen you with DJs. I've seen you with entertainers. And I'm thinking, why should I know all these people? Should I not be focusing on just doing my business and selling and not mingling and mixing with like all these people? So this particular person says, George helped me set up a LinkedIn account. And I'm looking at him like, dude, I'm a DJ. What the heck do I need a LinkedIn account for?
Yeah.
But ever since that LinkedIn account was set up, people are taking it a little bit more seriously. Like, oh, okay, you're a DJ, but you're on LinkedIn. So it got me like, no, I'm definitely going to ask George, who are the professional people that we need to be knowing in our lives as hustlers, or when we're starting up, or even when we're established?
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So I'll give this example, and I think this relates and everybody knows this. There's a man who is known all over the world, and this man, did so much on this continent, and he's still known up today. But his wisdom, I can tell you, is none other.
Right.
And this man goes by the name Jesus Christ. Right. So Jesus Christ was a very wise man, and what he did immediately when he began his business, which is his ministry, he surrounded himself with 12 people, and these people were called the 12 disciples. And if you look at the criteria he chose, these 12 disciples, he needed people who had certain expertise and skills that he did not have for him to be able to maneuver and go about doing his business without focusing on unnecessary things which he could not do. This man was a carpenter's son. He knew how to, kuweza mapranga and
all carpentry possible. He could do it.
He could do everything.
Yeah.
But then when it came to finances, business, how to do this, that, and the other, that's why he assembled these 12 people around him.
Right.
And wherever you are in business, you need to be surrounded with people who have expertise that you do not have. There's a quote that says, "No man is an island." It's very difficult for you to operate on this planet thinking you can do it all. You can't. You need the DJs, you need the entertainers, you need the pastors, you need the accountants, you need the doctors, you need everybody, because everybody is there and are able to assist you in something that you don't know. Trust you me, I don't know a lot about media. I don't know a lot about law. I don't know a lot about accounts. But one thing that's important in life, everybody is important.
Right.
Especially when you become a business person. You need everybody. So it's important to surround yourself. I made it a deliberate effort to know everybody in every sector because I need to learn from them. Now, in order for you to be wise, like the man I spoke of, Jesus Christ, he was so wise that he knew I cannot split myself into so many things. But if I spend an hour with a lawyer, there are certain things about law that I will learn. If I spend an hour with somebody who knows about real estate, there's something I will learn. And you know, in business, you'll find you're going to bump into these things. You're going to bump into accounts issues, marketing issues, economic challenges issues. You're going to bump into health issues. So you're going to need to surround yourself with all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll find once you associate with these people and, you know, they assist you and they know what you're about, those people are also going to become people who know about your product, your service, your business, and it becomes a mutual relationship. So it's so important for individuals who are listening all over to hang out with people who have a lot to do with your future, people who you know you're going to need to learn from. I always talk about what's called the sponge effect.
Uh-huh.
A wise man is one who is constantly learning. A person who is a fool is one who thinks he knows everything and he doesn't need to learn from anybody. So it's important we become sponges. Don't ever think unoziva zvinhu zvese.
Come on.
I say this whenever you are surrounded with greatness, let your mouth be quiet and your ears be wide open and ask intelligent questions so that you can update your software about certain things you don't know about what that person does. And I can tell you, that's how you'll be wise and you'll be a great person. So hang around with success. And like I always say, success will leave clues. So hang around with people who can do or have done or have accomplished certain things that you haven't. And definitely you will also become like them because you have become a sponge.
Nah, man. Yes. Totally agree with that. Totally agree. We've got messages coming through. Brita, thank you so much for tuning in. She's like, amazing conversations that you have there. 1023 writes in and says, I agree with George. Staying at parents' house causes a lot of problems, especially if you're a woman. You will face a lot of challenges, threats, problems from your sister-in-law. Worse if you lost a husband and you are not having a child. You know, now they're bringing in a lot of these aspects of you are at your parents' house and then you've got all these things that you need to put into perspective, things that you have to think about, the duties that you have to do, pay this bill, do all of this, as opposed to when you are by yourself, you are making individual informed decisions and not basing it on the people that you are living with. So they're like, I agree, yo, because staying at your parents' house, but back to the people that you know in business and in hustling. You mentioned a very fundamental point. I'd never thought about it like that. And I like to, learn, especially about things like this. And obviously from the life of Jesus, or the life that Jesus lived, he did have 12 disciples. And then he had his special 3. And then he also had 72 that he sent out. But his main focus was really on the 12 and the 3 that he moved around with mostly. And then in those 12, he had doctors, he had a lawyer, he had a tax collector. I mean, it's making sense. It's making sense. But here is Biggie. And I got a number 1 year lawyer. And I got a number 1 year doctor. Taxmen, I don't, like, people do not have these contacts in their phones. Like, a Zimra official, you must know, you must have someone from Zimra that you are talking to. You must have a doctor that you have. You must have a lawyer, a couple of lawyers actually, that you must have in your contacts.
So, whenever we talk about you always become what you are surrounded with, it's a statement, it's a quote we all know, your association determines your destination, and we hear this so many times. But if you want to be a great individual, you'll understand that everybody is important and we need to associate with people who are far better and ahead of you in whatever field or sector. So I'll look at, shout out to Ja Praiser and his amazing album.
Oh
that
yeah,
he
no,
just
that
released.
was epic.
No,
Two
that was an amazing.
two whole albums.
And I associated with Ja. I even have a video with him on YouTube where he tells his story, and he actually helped me when I was building, because he built before me, and I sat down with him. I was like, I went to his house and I saw, hey, where did you get this done? And he took me to that place. So whenever you hang around with people, they can actually open up certain doors. And I went there and I even got a discount because. So it depends who you hang around with. There are certain friends who we have we can actually or you can actually this. But you have to have business minded people who help you to level up where you are at in life.
Yeah.
And it's important to surround yourself. Like I always say, if I see your top 5 friends, I can tell where you are going. I can tell by the people you surround yourself with.
You got her laughing.
I remember
we have our digital lady in studio, and she's like, "Oh boy,
I remember a time one of my mentors was asking me, and they said, George, right now, I remember those were early stages in my business, and right now, George, I want you to call 5 friends who are with you. I need $1,000, and I want to see who can assist you.
Okay.
I called, and I called, and I called. And there was nobody who could come to my help. And he said to me, George, if you see that no one can assist you, it shows me the value, number one, of your friends. And it shows that these people are not serious. Because even 50, all right. If you call somebody and say, hi, I'm at Capitalk, I need $50. Who can come through for you? And it's important we also analyze these people we call friends. Because you find the man I spoke about didn't have a lot. So many of us out there call everybody a friend. But when times get tough, I'm sure all of us have been through tough times. You will know who your true friends are, especially during the tough times. So it's important that hang around with people who have your back like you have theirs. Because if you're just friends with everybody, my mentor tells me that I only have 3 friends. And these people, if I ask for X amount of money, they won't ask me what it's for, but they know I'm good for my word. How many people, Becky K, if you ask right now, will be able to come here and do that for you? So, those are what you call real friends. And those people know you for who you are and what you can do. And those are the types of people we need to associate with.
While we are on that, what if you are the person who's there for people? Should you be like separating yourself from the people that you assist, or keep yourself there until people learn from you?
Do you know,
what are you doing?
I faced this a lot of times, and I think we spoke about it some episodes before.
Yeah.
Whenever on your Instagram, or they call you and they say, hi, I need this amount of money, because you're friends on Instagram or Facebook. It means you're not really friends. But Paulenda out to a place and or something, two sentences later, that means I'm there to tell you drink, buy something, and I don't like being around such environments. I quickly leave because I know there's not much I can gain from there.
Yeah.
I want to go places where I am the least of the people. I am, which is why I spoke about EII last time. It's a group of seasoned business people. And when you hang around those people, trust you me, your mindset, you've made it in life. Environment, and there's this quote I always say, you don't know how poor you are until you go to a rich man's house. In I have an office and a business. I went to an office today, and I saw standard of excellence. With the air conditioning business I do,
right?
You go and you're like, wow, is this a bedroom? It's size the pantry in somebody's bedroom. It's mind-boggling. But it's just showing you there's a certain level, and we only become the sum total result of what we have been exposed to. Right. And when you surround yourself and you get exposed to success, mediocre will not make you settle for kwenda kumarine in a motor and you feel special about yourself. Go to where the real big boys are and see you won't even be noticed. And that's where you need to go, because those people have a bigger vision, and their minds are focused on bigger and greater things. And that's where we need to be as a people. Let's not just focus on Kungwanzi Dara and this. Go and hang out with the big boys. Change your association, and it'll definitely change where you're supposed to be in your life.
I agree. Mr. George Billionaire coming through on Capi Talk 100.4 FM. It is 3 minutes to 1 o'clock, and it will be unfair for us to just shut it down without playing our song, because there ain't no stopping us hustlers when we do the things that we do. Join us again next week, Monday, when George comes through to give us yet another topic when we discuss things to do with hustling hard and winning at it also. We just don't hustle here. We hustle and win. So today we spoke about the people that we need to associate ourselves with as hustlers. Go and do the homework. Whose numbers do you have in your phone? Do you have a doctor's number, a lawyer's number, someone in the entertainment industry, someone who passport, Jaigo? Like, go and do the homework and have relevant numbers in your contacts.
And like we always say, Becky K, whatever you don't use within 48 hours of receiving,
it goes
your mind, and you go back to factory settings. So let's not just be hearers of what we are getting.
Yeah.
Let's be doers and put some action to it.
We out.
It's your boy George Billionaire, and you're listening to Capi Talk 100.4 FM.